Good morning, guys. There is nothing more powerful than a made-up mind. If you decide to make up your mind, make a decision, make a determination to go after your freedom, happiness, and success, you will get it. It will take time. It will be a lot of hard work. It'll be a difficult path, but you will get it. But you have to have that made-up mind. If you decide to never give up on that, to work at it every day relentlessly over and over, you're going to activate that power of your mind, that full positive power. And so you have to believe it. You have to have that unwavering belief that you can do it. And you have to stick to it, and you have to have that no matter what spirit. But I can tell you, the process is going to make you happy in itself. And so I really hope you join and continue that path forever. Have a great day, everyone.
Leadership is a responsibility to people around us. It's not a rank. You've heard me say this before. I know many people who sit at the highest levels of organizations who are not leaders.
Right.
They have authority, and we do as they tell us because they have authority over us, but we would not follow them.
Right.
And I know many people, as do you, who sit at lower levels of organizations who have no formal authority, in that they've made a choice to look after the person to the left of them and look after the person to the right of them, and we would trust them and follow them anywhere. In other words, leadership can come from anywhere within an organization. Yes, we have the right to demand to have better leaders and better leadership in our companies. But when we don't, quitting is not the only option, nor is simply complaining, but undertaking the task of becoming the leader we wish we had.
Wow.
You know, anyone at any level can become a student of leadership. And anyone at any level can choose to take to look after this person and that person and work tirelessly to see that they rise, they become better versions of themselves, and that they show up to work inspired and go home feeling fulfilled and feel safe when they're at work because of us.
Yeah.
Be the change you want to see in the world. One of my favorite quotes, Mahatma Gandhi. If you're not happy with something, you're not happy with a situation, you fix it. That's why entrepreneurs are going to solve all the problems. As much as there's government and big business, I think it's entrepreneurs, it's us. We're going to solve all the world's problems because we see a problem and we want to fix it. We want to solve it. That's what we do. That's the most exciting part of being an entrepreneur, is that you're not waking up and driving to some job that you hate, where the work you're doing does not matter, has no meaning. instead you get to do something that is actually going to touch somebody's life and that is meaningful to you, right? You get to pick, you get to decide, you get to choose. And we're trying to make the world a better place. We're going to make money doing it too, but mission first, purpose first, and then making money along the way in service of others. And it's in that combination of what you love doing with what brings value to other people that you have a successful business. Part of that then becomes being a leader as well. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with being a leader because at the beginning, we are just managing ourselves, and that's hard enough, right? It's like, have you had a hard time managing yourself? Have you had a hard time sticking to your routines and keeping to your motivation and staying strong on the things that you say you're gonna do? Like self-management, self-leadership is hard enough. Now we're gonna go off and lead other people as well. And where do we learn about leadership? We don't go to school for this. We don't have programs. We don't probably have great mentors to help us. If you had jobs in the past, or maybe you're at a job right now, you probably don't have the greatest leaders around you. Most people suck at it. But it doesn't have to be extremely difficult. And it took me a long time to get used to it and get better at it, and I'm still learning and improving. But we've got almost 40 people on the team now, and when people ask me what's my definition of leadership, it's I want people to win more than I want them to win with me. And so the key becomes wanting the humans that are on your team to win as humans more than you want them to win with you. That you can have this little disconnection. Obviously they have to do the work if they're going to work with you, but sometimes the best thing for them to do is to move on. Not because they're not doing their job, but because it's the best thing for them. And so when I connect with the people on my team, it's always trying to figure out where do they want to go? What do they want to learn? What do they want to improve on? And I see everybody as running parallel paths with me. So the people around you, the people, even us right now, what we're doing right now, this is a parallel path. You've decided to watch this video. I decided to record this video, and we're sharing this moment in time. And maybe you never watch another Evan Carmichael video again. Maybe you end up watching all my videos and we end up being partners on some future business. Who knows? You know, maybe I'm seeing you every day in the future. But as of right now, we're on this parallel path together. And when somebody's with you, walking down that parallel path, the goal of a great leader, I think, should be to try to make that person leave better than how they came in. Right? Have you ever heard the expression, or maybe it's just something my grandfather used to tell me about, you know, when you go to a hotel or you go to a new city or you go to a new event, they always try to leave the place better than when you came. You know, and hopefully that's our goal for life. In this life, we try to leave the world a little better than how it was when we came in. And so if you take that approach to leadership, that when you're with the people on your team, and maybe it's for a week, on some really short internship, maybe it's for a year, maybe it's for 5 years, 10 years, maybe it's for their entire life with you, that they have left a little bit better than when they came in because they got to hang around you. And not taking it as an ego play, like I'm gonna make this person's life better because I am so amazing. It's more out of care, genuine care for the people on your team. And I think when we're first hiring, we suck at it. Most entrepreneurs suck at hiring. Most entrepreneurs, their first employee is not with them, a year, 2 years, 3 years later, because they hired the wrong person. They have no idea how to manage that person. It's not that that person sucks. It's more that, you don't have the skill set. We don't have the skill sets at the beginning to know how to even find the right person, let alone manage them. And so, that's a skill that we have to develop. But I think it just starts with genuinely caring about the people on your team. That yes, they have to get the work done, right? There's a job that has to get done. But how we often think about it is more from a selfish perspective, as I need to get this stuff off my plate, right? You're overloaded with work, right? Are you overloaded with work? We're overloaded with work. So I gotta hire somebody to take this off my plate so I don't have to deal with that ever again, and it frees up my time to go and do other stuff, right? Sound familiar? Listen, at the beginning, when you bring on a team, it takes more time. It takes more time than it frees up because you have to train them, you have to listen to them, you have to care for them, you have to answer their questions. If you treat them like a robot or a monkey, they're not going to stick with you. You're going to constantly be hiring and firing and hiring and firing. And you're going to be massively frustrated and overwhelmed. And a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck in that cycle. where, has this happened to you? You hire somebody, it looks great on paper, you're so excited for it to go, and then it doesn't work out a couple months later, and then you decide, you know what, I'm just gonna do it all myself, right? I know I can get it done, I'm just gonna do it all myself. Does that happen to you? That is not the path to building a movement. You can have a great little solo business for yourself, but that's not how you change the world. That's not how you realize your potential. That's not how you have the impact that you're capable of having. You have to have people around you. If you've got a big mission, if you don't have a big mission, it's just you, cool, go for it. But if you've got a big mission, then it needs to be team, and that becomes a skill set that you have to pick up and learn. And so leadership for me is, again, caring about people as humans more than caring about them winning with you. It's about discovering what they want to learn and grow and improve at, and you being a vehicle to help them do that. And it's surprising how often you can find things that support them and support you. Not all the time. I remember having one guy on my team who his dream was to be a baker. Like, well, I don't have an interest in opening up a bake shop, right? But ultimately, you should leave us and go do your passion, because I can't help you inside of this job until I open a bake shop that can really support you in what you want to do. And so, even though he wanted to stay, he was staying more out of fear and insecurity than actually doing something that he was deeply passionate about. So I gave him till the end of the year. If it was, summer, give him to the end of the year to, okay, as of the end of the year, you're out and you have to go find a job. I love you, but you have to go find something that is in line with your dream, because you staying here is safe and is actually squashing your dreams. You have to go do your thing. And so, he had to go and move on, and was appreciative for it and giving him time, not like, okay, you're fired next week. And then you have other people though, and usually you can find something inside of what they care about. So the amount of people who I've met on my team who then they want to learn graphic design, or they want to learn Photoshop, or they want to learn copywriting, or they want to learn how to come up with good titles, or they want to learn better communication skills, or they want to learn, they have their lists of like the things that they want to learn. It's like, cool, as long as there's something that we've got that can help you with that, some kind of program, some project, something that can also bring value to the company, then let's do it. Because when people are working on the things that they feel like they're growing in and they're learning in, they're gonna, it's just a good thing to do, because it's from the heart, and when they feel connected to your heart, everybody's happier and more productive. But it's also just good business strategy. If you want to just put your XO business strategy hat on, it's great. This is how karma becomes practical. If somebody's engaged and feel like they're learning and they're growing and they're improving, you're going to get the best of them, versus if they feel bored and stuck and learning nothing new, right? That's what most people do in their jobs. And honestly, the bar for leadership is so low. It's so low. Most people wake up and drive to that job that they hate. So all you have to do, to be honest, to be the best boss is probably just to not be a bad boss. You don't have to be a great boss. You just have to not be a bad boss. You just have to treat somebody like a normal human being and actually have a little bit of care and compassion and curiosity to see them win in life. You do that, you're already probably their best boss of all time. I think that's a pretty low standard, but it's a great starting point to then be able to say, hey, no, I want this person to have come out of my organization, whether that's in a month or a year or 10 years from now, a better human because they were with us. And it's totally possible. It's just a mindset shift that these people are on your team because they have something to prove as well, and they want to learn. And it's not just about you saving your time and dumping stuff off of your plate and giving it to somebody else so it can be all delegated away. It's that you are a leader and you care about people and you want to see them win. And you're responsible for making sure that they get pushed outside their comfort zone. You got a big mission inside you. It's a huge mission. And you can't do this alone. You may not have the skills yet to be the leader that you want to be. Maybe not yet, but you've got a big heart. And honestly, that's the biggest skill that you ever need.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Hey guys, today Gary Vaynerchuk reminds us to care about our customers. And he gives an example in his business a long time ago where he had to trudge through the snow. It was a stormy, wintry day, and he made sure that he went and fulfilled the needs and satisfied this customer's request no matter what. Even though he didn't feel like doing it, even though it was dangerous, he did it. And that became the spirit of his company. He makes sure that he takes care of his customers no matter what. Well, the way I would think we should look at things is that your customers, even if you don't have a business, are the people around you. And so by you working on you, being the best you, providing the best you for people around you, you're helping every single customer. And the same goes with them, and that builds and spreads with each other. So let's remember from Gary Vaynerchuk, and let's remember that we are already like a business of being our true great self for ourselves and others around us. Have a great day, everyone.
I think failure is bad. I don't think it's good. But if something is important enough, then you do it even though the risk of failure is high. And so I think my advice, if somebody wants to start a company, is they should bear in mind that the most likely outcome is that it's not going to work. And they should reconcile themselves to that strong possibility. And they should only do it if they feel that they are really compelled to do it. You know,
Right.
Because it's going to, the way starting a company works is like usually in the very beginning it's kind of fun, and then it's really hellish for a number of years.
You talked about chewing glass.
Yeah, there's a friend of mine who's a successful entrepreneur, and started actually his career around the same time as I did, and he has a good phrase. His name's Billy. He said, "Yeah, starting a company is like eating glass and staring into the abyss," and
you agree with that?
generally true. Yeah, and if you don't eat the glass, you're not going to be successful.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you too. You've got Michael Jordan level genius at something. So today, let's live your best belief life and learn how to deal with failure to overcome your fear. Enjoy. Rule number 2 is embrace the fall with Simon Sinek.
First of all, I don't like the term failure. I like the term falling. I think you need, we fail fast. Well, the problem with the word fail is it's like the word cancer, right? If you have stage 4 lung cancer or stage 4 liver cancer, and you have a mild melanoma with a 99.999% chance of you'll be fine, both of those things are called cancer. And the problem is they're not the same thing. And failure is the same, which is failure could be absolutely catastrophic or it could be a minor hiccup, but the problem is we call it failure. So I think we need to use different terms, right? Failure, I believe, is something we want to avoid. But falling is something that happens naturally. And we want to fall and get up more often. That's what I think is fall fast and get yourself back up, as opposed to lying on the ground and complaining, right? So I want to embrace falling. because that's taking risks, that's trying. You only fall when you push the boundaries, right? But the language matters because it changes our mindset, especially because it's too broad a definition for failure. So one of the ways we embrace falling is by when somebody does fall, we don't say, "What have you done?" We go, "Okay, try again," as leaders, right? How can I help you fix it? And we're just a little more relaxed about it. And we don't swoop in and do it for them, right? But rather we go, so in other words, we're encouraging risk-taking. We're encouraging people to try, recognizing that they won't lose their jobs, that especially if you're more junior, you really couldn't do anything that brings down the firm anyway. And we have to give people the opportunity to fall and let them either learn to fix their own problems or guide them so that they can. Every single one of us has screwed up a bazillion times, and the only reason we are where we are today is because somebody said, all right, you're an idiot, but try again, you know? Like, that's where, I know who did it for me, Peter Intomaggio, my old boss, years and years and years ago. The guy would never answer any of my questions. "Peter, what should I do? What do you think we should do?" I'm like, oh. If I knew, I wouldn't be asking, "Well, what do you think?" "I think we should do this," "Then do that." The guy never answered a question, and if I screwed up, he goes, whew, what are you gonna do? You know? But I never felt fear that I would get fired, ever. I never felt afraid that my job was on the line when I screwed up. We have to do that for people.
Rule number 3 is let fear sit with you, with Lisa Nichols.
Over my career, and I've been in business over 20 years now, people from all around the world, students at every level, whether they are newly into launching their business or they've been in business themselves for 10, 15 years, ask the question, how do I overcome fear? I'm about to disrupt you completely because I am not going to give you a strategy to overcome fear. Because if I even attempt to give you a strategy, and I know we're always looking at stuff, reading things, how to overcome fears. There are probably 10 steps to overcoming fear somewhere out there. They weren't written by me, and I could never write it. Because I don't think you wait to overcome fear to live the life of your dreams or the one that you deserve or to blow your own mind. I personally, and I'm teaching you from my life lessons, from what I've studied, what I've applied, what I've implemented, what I've fallen from, what I've soared from, what I've gotten up from. And I don't think you focus on learning how to overcome fear, though there are things that helps to mitigate your fear. Information mitigates fear. Training and developing your skill set mitigates fear. I teach speaking. I love teaching people how to speak powerfully. Not to speak to be great, but to speak to be unforgettable. Whether you're a speaker or whether you're a manager, whether you're in retails or network marketing, whatever it is, when you open your mouth, you want to be unforgettable. And people always say, Lisa, how do I overcome the fear of speaking? I say, let's not focus on the fear of speaking because energy grows where energy goes. So let's not focus on overcoming fear. Let's focus on building a muscle that naturally dissolves fear. And that muscle is the muscle of information, the muscle of education, and the muscle of skill set. So if you know more and then you develop the skill set, you won't be as afraid to do that thing that you're talking about. But the other side to that, now I'm going to disrupt you a bit. So the first part, not so disruptive. That means go get it more information, give fear what fear needs to reduce itself, meaning information, skill set. But this other part that I'm going to tell you, this might be disruptive. How about you not try to mitigate, resolve, or get past, or overcome, whatever you want to call it? How about you not try to do that with fear? How about you allow the fear to sit with you? You just commit to keep moving, even with the fear. So many times in my life and in my career, I was afraid. The difference between me and most is that I still move forward with the fear. Fear does not have a past to stop you. Fear does not have a past to stop you. First of all, let me just tell you this. Just like compassion, just like love, just like respect, just like any other feeling you feel for someone, fear is just a feeling. We just give fear more power. We say, when compassion comes, I hug, I love. When understanding comes, when joy comes, when humor comes, I laugh. But when fear comes, I get to stop? What if you change the meaning to that? Ooh, just stick with me right here. What if you changed your dance with fear? What if you tell fear, you're welcome in my life because you're gonna come. Can't keep you away. But when you come, I'm not going to stop. I might collect more information. I might get more team members. I might get a coach. I might get on my knees and pray a little harder, longer. But I will get up and I will stay moving. See, that's what I had to do. Not really had, I guess. That's what I chose to do. Well, I felt like I had to do it because I had this dream in my belly and it had to come out. I had to show the world who I really was. I had to see how big I can play. I had to see how high I could jump, how fast I could run, how many people I could serve. I had to. It was non-negotiable for me. And so when the fear rose, and it rose, I mean, it rose as a woman out of South Central LA, not having a college degree, teaching these techniques. It rose when I was the only African American inside a community wanting to transform lives and learning how to do, different techniques. It rose when I started my company and decided I want to share with the world my dream. It rose when my son's father went to prison and stayed in prison over 20 years. It rose when I wanted to be on stage talking about transformation, but I was over 200 pounds. It rose, it rose, it rose, it rose when I made a lot of money. And then it rose when I lost a lot of money. And it rose when I did that again and again and again. It kept coming. At some point I said, okay, I will not wait for you to go away. I will learn how to dance with you. Can you feel the fear? Hold the fear in one hand and hold your passion in the other. And can you take them both and allow them to coexist and you still show up and play full out? Because if you can do that, if you choose, not can, if you choose to transform your relationship with fear, that fear is just an informant. It's not a hurdle. It's not a block. It's not a wall. Fear is an informant. It says, go get something. Get more rest, get more people, get more information, get more skill set. Go get something. And you can still go. And you can get that thing and keep going. Then you won't ever wonder. You won't ever wonder how to overcome fear again.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 4 is don't give up with Guru Gopal Das.
Have you ever felt like you wanted to give up because things are not going at your expected pace? Have you ever felt like leaving what you're doing because you see no growth? Have you ever felt like ending it all because of failures you have experienced on your path? Well, whenever you feel low, depressed, and overwhelmed with negative emotions because of the ups and downs that inevitably come in life, whenever you feel like you want to quit, whenever you are just not able to see a reason to continue living, do remind yourself of a simple yet profound analogy. It's been one of my favorites from the very first time I heard it. A man planted fern and bamboo seeds and cared for them really well. He made sure that they both got adequate light and water. The man was delighted to see the fern quickly spring out from the earth and grow really fast, covering its entire surrounding with its bright green color. But he was disappointed when he saw nothing come out from the bamboo seed. But the man did not give up on the bamboo. In the second year, he saw that the growth of the fern was luxuriant, vibrant, and abundant. And the bamboo seed? Nothing came out still. But the man continued caring for the bamboo and did not quit. In the third year, there was still nothing from the bamboo seed, and the man still would not give up. in the 4th year, once again, he saw nothing come from the bamboo seed. But the man persevered and still would not quit. It was in the 5th year that the man saw a tiny sprout emerge from the earth. The bamboo sprout was tiny and insignificant compared to the fern. But in just 6 months from then, the bamboo shot up over 100 feet tall. The man realized that the bamboo had spent those 5 years growing its roots. It was those roots that made it strong and gave it all what it needed to survive, thrive, and grow. Isn't it true that life does not give anyone a challenge that they cannot handle? If there's a challenge that you're facing at the moment, know for sure that you have the capacity to handle it. Were you aware that all the time you have spent dealing with your challenges and struggles, you've actually been growing roots? Just as the man did not give up on the bamboo, don't give up on yourself. Never quit. Don't compare yourself to others. The bamboo and the fern are so different, yet both make the forest beautiful, each one serving a different purpose. Relax. Your time will come. You will shoot up and rise high as well. Go as high as you can, as high as your potential, not someone else's potential. Be patient and keep working on yourself, and one day you will shoot up like the bamboo tree too. Remember that London is 5 hours ahead of New York, but that doesn't make New York slow or London fast. Everything in life happens at the right time. Be patient, and the right time will come for you as well. Don't hurry and don't worry. You're neither early nor are you too late. You're just on time.
Rule number 5 is move from failure to failure with Russell Brand.
Did you see that tweet where someone asked me to talk about failure? Well, here I am talking about failure now. I've failed a lot in my life. Most notably, the thing that comes to mind, and by God, I wish it didn't, was my expectations around the success of the film Arthur that I appeared in, and then the reality of the film Arthur that I appeared in. It didn't do well, and afterwards I felt eviscerated. So that showed me, it took a long time to see this, that I really wrapped up my sense of self in personal success. That I thought that if Arthur is like a #1 box office smash, then I will be enough. I will be validated and valuable. I was shown that by attaching my sense of self to that particular endeavor, that I was going to suffer. Now, what I've learned through continual failure, some that preceded that and some that have come subsequent to it, is that the less external things that I rely on, the better. And that the process of failure is a process of education, of realizing that failure is a situation labeled as a negative situation only by my own desires. And it's often not the external situation that needs to change, but my attitude towards it. I've failed in relationships before, I've failed professionally before, I've failed in my expectations of myself. And where that's brought me to is a kind of willingness to acknowledge and accept that I don't know what's best for me. That's vital in recovery, to arrive at the point where you realize that your own vision of reality cannot be a determinant. You become teachable when you know that. Also, it's good to know that no external thing will ever be sufficient to make me okay with the world. And also, it's difficult to understand the effect of time. You know, like when that happened, when like Arthur didn't go as well, and I'm imagining people in genuine crisis watching this, oh, you poor man, a film didn't do as well as you hoped it would. You know, it's like I'm aware of the depth and breadth of suffering that's available. I'm aware of the pain that people go through. Somewhat because I remember it, but mainly because I listen and am aware that some people's sense of failure is as a parent because they've lost their children. Some people's sense of failure is as a husband because they've lost their partner. But for me, what is common to all forms of failure, wherever it lands on the scale, is that the possibility for us to change our perspective. What's quite holistic about what I've been taught is being willing to let go of the idea that I know what's best for me. And now I realize that because I've been removed from a particular career path due to circumstance, a world of possibility has opened up to me. Because I'm happy with the person that I am now, because I'm happy in my relationship, because I love my children, because I love my life, because I see the possibility for a beautiful future where I am valuable and of service, where I'm truly connected to people. Things that I regarded as a failure in the past just seem like necessary parts of a journey. So when you feel like you are failing, if you feel like you're failing at work or you feel like you're failing in your marriage, I suppose I would invite you to consider that it's possible that you do not yet have all of the information. From moment to moment, we travel through life with our limited perspective, whether that's in the visual field or the field of consciousness. We're not capable of understanding the entire sphere of our reality, but generally more will be revealed to us, and broadly what I think will be revealed to you is that what you have once regarded as failure is a necessary step on your journey to becoming the person you were intended to be.
Rule number 6 is turn failure into positive with Jocko Willink.
I'm a huge fan of the podcast, and I'd like your advice. When I was younger, I joined the National Guard in an attempt to do something with my life and get out of depression. I lost my discipline and goals after basic training and continued in depression and disorganization. I had the opportunity to go to flight school, but instead tested positive on a drug test, and I was given a general discharge. I, of course, take full responsibility and feel like an idiot. How would you recommend moving past this failure? What would you have done if your SEAL career ended with a mistake?
Well, if my SEAL career had ended with a mistake, I would have figured out what my next mission was going to be. That's what I would have done. I mean, I would have said, okay, I like that job. I failed at it. What can I learn from that? And what can I do next differently to make sure I don't make that mistake again? Mm-hmm. I'm going to learn from the past, but I'm not going to dwell on it. Mm-hmm. There's no point in dwelling on it. The only point in dwelling on it is to learn from it. So that's what I would do here. And then I would take what I learned from my experiences of where I failed, and I would also take the positive things that I learned, because even that failure is a positive. Even that failure is a positive, because you realize the value of the opportunity that you had, and you blew it, and you're like, okay, I'm never going to let that happen again. Lesson learned. I'm actually stoked I get to learn that lesson, because there's going to be more opportunities that come up in life, and you got to make sure that you don't disregard those opportunities when they come up. And so I would have taken those lessons learned, take that failure and turn it into something positive, and made good things happen when I figured out what my new mission and new career was going to be. Pretty straightforward. Mm. You can do so much good. And that's going back to the story that I told about Jeff in the beginning of this podcast. Some of the wording that I struggled with in the kid story, and again, it's the Warrior Kid podcast. One of the things that I struggled with in telling the story was I ended up saying Jeff had gone too far and he couldn't correct himself.
Yeah.
He had gone too far and he couldn't come back. Yeah. And that's a real hard thing to tell a person, and it's a real hard thing to tell a kid. And the reason why I left it that way, the reason why I kept it like, listen, you can make mistakes that you can't come back from, especially as a kid. You can make mistakes that you can't come back from. They're pretty rare, right? There's not too many mistakes that are so grievous that you can't recover from them. Like this guy. Hey, man, he made a mistake. He failed a drug test, given a general discharge. That sucks. Guess what? He can do all kinds of good in the world. He can make up for that tenfold. He can start a business, make money. He can create a family. He can raise great kids. And there's so many things that he can make sure his kids understand that and know that and learn from it. And he can make sure some other neighborhood kids and high school kids and grade school kids, he can make such an impact on the world by learning from that mistake. So it's a harsh thing to say, like, hey, there's some things you can't. Now, what this guy can't recover from, and this is the fact that you have to face, and this is why I told it this way in the kid story. He didn't understand. When he made that mistake, he didn't understand that there's some mistakes you cannot recover from. He can't be a pilot now. It's not going to happen. 0 chance of him being a military pilot. That's the way it works. So if I would have had the opportunity to tell him when he was 13 years old, hey, listen, bro, I get it. You're going to step outside the box sometimes, but there's some mistakes that you can make that you'll never be able to recover from. So think about what you're doing before you do them. You need to think about what you're doing before you do them. And if I would have had the opportunity to tell him that when he was 13 years old, he might have had a better decision-making process when he got older. That's why I left it that way for those kids, so that they recognize that there are some things that you do as a person, as a kid, that you cannot recover from. You cannot recover from them. Now, that being said, when you take this and you put it in perspective as an adult, see, and as an adult, you have a much broader world to be a part of. And just because he's not going to be a pilot, a military pilot, by the way, just because he's not going to be a military pilot, there's all kinds of other opportunities out there. And you can explain that to an adult, but it's hard to explain that to a kid. So what other opportunities? I mean, even if, especially like, oh, you want to be a pilot? Cool. You can become a civilian pilot. And you can, you can fly. You can make things happen that way. But what we're not going to do, and what I would not do, is dwell on the past and dwell on what the big missed opportunity is. Because guess what? That's a missed opportunity that there's all kinds of people in the world would love for that to be their biggest mistake that they've made. That's it. They would love. There's someone sitting in prison right now. That's like, man, I wish all I did was fail a drug test and I could have learned my lesson. Instead, I'm sitting here in prison. Or I got injured really bad because I did something that I shouldn't have done, or I made a bad decision, or I got someone that I care about hurt or injured because I took them in a car when I was drunk. Like, those are the kind of mistake. This mistake, sure, it's a bummer. Guess what? There are infinitely worse mistakes that he could have made. Infinitely worse. So you're all right, man. You're okay. Learn from it. Don't dwell on it. Move on and go do something really positive in the world.
Rule number 7 is fail big with Denzel Washington.
I was flunking out of college. I had a 1.7 grade point average. I hope none of you can relate. I had a 1.7 grade point average. I was sitting in my mother's beauty shop. They still call it beauty shops now? What they call it now? Yeah, I was sitting in the beauty parlor. I was sitting in my mother's beauty parlor, and I'm looking in the mirror, and I see behind me this woman under the dryer. And every time she looked up, every time I looked up, she was looking at me, just looking me in the eye. And I didn't know who she was, and I said, she said, somebody give me a pen, give me a pencil, I have a prophecy. March 27, 1975, she said, boy, you are gonna travel the world and speak to millions of people. Now, mind you, I was flunked out of college. I'm thinking about joining the Army. I didn't know what I was gonna do, and she's telling me I'm gonna travel the world and speak to millions of people. Well, I have traveled the world, and I have spoke to millions of people. But that's not the most important thing, the success that I had. The most important thing is that what she taught me and what she told me that day has stayed with me since. I've been protected, I've been directed, I've been corrected. Fail big. That's right. Fail big. You only live once, so do what you feel passionate about. Take chances professionally. Don't be afraid to fail. There's an old IQ test, was 9 dots, and you had to draw 5 lines with a pencil within these 9 dots. without lifting the pencil. The only way to do it was to go outside the box. So don't be afraid to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big. But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. So have dreams, but have goals. Life goals, yearly goals, monthly goals, daily goals. I try to give myself a goal every day. And understand that to achieve these goals, you must apply discipline and consistency. You have to work at it every day. You have to plan every day. You've heard the saying, we don't plan to fail, we fail to plan. Hard work works. Working really hard is what successful people do. And in this text, tweet, twerk world that you've grown up in, remember, just because you're doing a lot more doesn't mean you're getting a lot more done. Remember that. Just because you're doing a lot more doesn't mean you're getting a lot more done. Don't confuse movement with progress. My mother told me, she said, yeah, because you can run in place all the time and never get anywhere. So continue to strive, continue to have goals, continue to progress. And anything you want good, you can have. So claim it. Work hard to get it. When you get it, reach back. Pull someone else up. Each one, teach one. Don't just aspire to make a living. Aspire to make a difference.
And rule number 8, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is improve yourself with Sadhguru.
When we're on this journey of life, we tend to set a lot of short-term goals, and when we don't achieve them, we don't know how to deal with failure. And that is something we all deal with a lot at U of T in specific, but but in that moment when we can look back and say, yeah, this is fine, but in that moment, how do we hold our ground and how do we learn to see the bigger picture?
Should I tell you about my failures? Hello? No, they're not interested. I have some friends who want to know about my failure. When I was 10, 11, the only thing that I had in my mind is, I just want to go somewhere. I don't know where. So those days, if I got 5 rupees, 5 rupees was lots of money. I bought a little bit of bread and disappeared into the jungle. Just walked around, caught a bunch of snakes, I observed everything from insects to worms to animals to everything. When I ran out of food and became difficult, after 3, 4, 5 days, came back. By then there was a lot of unnecessary excitement in the town. Police complaints, searching all over the place, looking into the morgue, all kinds of things. And then I came back and they were all this thing, but I had left a note. They just ignore my words and do everything else. So after a few times, they got used to that. And I also grew up. So I didn't know where, but I just wanted to go somewhere. All I knew was somehow the known situations was kind of containing me. I just wanted to go somewhere. The moment I got a bicycle, I cycled across South India. And I got a motorcycle, I crisscrossed India many times. And I was stopped at the national borders. So I decided the only thing is I do some business, make some money and ride across the world. Where? I don't know, simply want to ride. So I thought I'll get into business. So I got in, became far more successful than most people would imagine in a short span of time. So one to another, I started half a dozen businesses, became very successful, everything. Then everybody was clapping their hands except me. They were all clapping their hands because I was making more money than other people. I was getting little like that because I got into this business because I wanted to ride away. But business after business, I put one finger, now both my hands were stuck in it, making money and everybody clapping hands, but I was not clapping hands. I did not think it's a great thing. I think it's those 5 years which people think are very successful for me were the 5 years when I did not do what I really wanted to do. But everybody else thought I was doing great. That's how world is, you must understand. When you're doing great, they think you're doing no good. When you think you're doing no good, they all think you're doing great. So you must know whose interest is in their hearts. So then one afternoon, it so happened I burst into an ecstatic state for no reason, every cell in my body bursting. And then I look at myself, what is happening to me? Am I going off my rocker? Am I losing it? What's happening? But I know I don't want to lose what's happening because it's too fantastic. If I simply sit here, I'm dripping ecstasy. Then I pay attention to it, what is it that's happening to me? Then I realize, if I don't mess with my mind, I'm just ecstatic. Even now, just see, it's just the cerebral activity that you're not able to deal with, isn't it, which causes so much all this. If you know how to distance yourself from that, this life will burst into ecstatic state. When you are a 5-year-old girl, simply jumping around, simply because there was not much cerebral activity. Simply life was a joy just to be alive, isn't it? Even now you will become like that if you know when to keep your cerebral activity on, when to keep it off. When I realized, if you don't do anything, you will become ecstatic, then I thought, what's the big deal? I will make the whole world ecstatic. On that day, the world's population was 5.6 billion people. Then I sat down and made an elaborate plan. How I will make the world ecstatic? Because it's so simple. If they don't do anything, they will be ecstatic. I didn't think people are so invested in misery that it'll take a lot of coaxing. Then I made a plan, in 2.5 years' time, I can very easily make the world ecstatic. I thought I'll execute this plan, because you're a consulting business person, I'm telling you. I had everything clear-cut, because this is this simple. If I talk to them, why will they deny ecstasy? They will all go for it. 38 years. Don't do this. You're clapping at my failures. So people today say we have touched somewhere between 800 to 900 million people. But that's not my idea of the world. Population has grown to 7.6 billion people. Now I know I will die a failure, but I'm a blissful failure, okay? Because first is, I learned how to fix myself before I do anything in the world. If you fix yourself, will you fix yourself in a pleasant way or unpleasant way? Pleasant way. So if you become joyful by your own nature, then you do something in the world. Depending upon the times in which we exist, We must understand this, never underestimate this. Depending upon the times in which we exist, we do certain things, our world allows us to do certain things, isn't it? Today you're in your university, all of you here, because this is 21st century. If this was 12th century, maybe you would be fighting a war, maybe you would be plowing the land, maybe you would be doing something else. So you being a university is not your achievement, it is the times. You have some role, you have a stake in it, but it is the times which is allowing you to do this, isn't it? Historically, at what time we are born is deciding most of what we do. So do not make that a big affair. First and foremost thing is to grow this piece of life to its highest possibility. If you grow this one to a certain level of capability, competence and well-being, this will do something in this world according to the times. Instead of that, what you're trying to do is, you're trying to upgrade your activity without upgrading the machine. It is like you took an old beat-up pickup truck, I won't name the brand because they're just across the Great Lakes. You took one old beat-up truck, pickup truck you have, but you suddenly got a desire, you want to go into the Formula 1 racing. You went. Now your four wheels will be going in four different directions. You want to get onto the track, at least buy a standard Ferrari. Hello? If you have an upgraded machine, is your activity naturally upgraded? I'm asking you. But without upgrading the machine, if you upgrade activity, upgraded activity is creating enormous suffering, isn't it? See, those of you who are thinking it's very hard to be in the university, I can take you back home and make you plow the land. Very easy. You don't know what it is. So I'm not trying to make fun of things, but I want you to understand the privilege of being in the times in which you are, where our survival process is better organized than ever before in the history of humanity. Yes or no? Yes or no? Are you materially not living better than your parents and grandparents? Unless your father was a Maharaja in India or something? No, you're common. So definitely you're living better than them, isn't it? Especially all of you young women who are here, I want you to acknowledge this, that this is the best time to be a woman on this planet. It never was this good. Well, still there are issues which we have to improve, no question about that, but isn't it better than ever before? If we do not acknowledge what we have, we will not create what we want, just know this.
Morning, guys. I want to share a story with you from Eric Thomas, who gave an example one time of a gentleman who was trying to make changes, trying to, have the things that Eric Thomas had in his life, which were related to his relationship with his wife. He would say, he would tell Eric Thomas, how do you do it? How is it that you have such a happy, fulfilled, deep relationship with your wife? And Eric Thomas would tell him that, well, I'm willing to do the things that are going to help in that relationship. I'm willing to do what's required in a relationship, including perhaps helping around the house, cooking, cleaning, that sort of thing. And this particular gentleman said that he didn't like doing that, or he said he really wanted to be successful in his relationship, but he didn't want to do those kinds of things. And he said to Eric Thomas, I feel like a punk when I do that. And then Eric Thomas's response is, make me a punk. I want to feel like a punk. If that's what it takes for me to have a great relationship, that's what I got to do. And that's the spirit we have to have. Have a great day, everyone.